Hi everyone, and welcome to a new series of videos that I'm going to be doing as part of my channel, which will be basically me going through learning new technologies and how I go about learning them and applying them to practical solutions and things like that. But the first few videos I was thinking in this series is just going to be me doing a lot of reading and a lot of understanding of the technology in which I'm learning, as well as doing little, maybe, mucking around and just testing how things work. Now, the topic I've decided to choose for my first session on this is actually AngularJS version 2.0, which I have used AngularJS before in projects, but that was from 1.3, I believe. So it's been a while since I've looked at AngularJS. I know it's changed a lot for 2.0. So I wanted to start as if I was a newbie. I'd never seen it before, which I haven't seen it before. So let's get started. So I'm gonna look up AngularJS. So this is literally from the start. I may have googled it once or twice, but I haven't actually played with it. You can see I've actually clicked on it before though. So AngularJS, one framework, they say. Okay, so let's see what they have to say. Angular one framework, mobile and desktop, get started. So what do they say about it here? Announce the Angular attack, a 48-hour online hackathon. May 14th to 15th, 2016, registered today. So it's interesting. What's that got in here? How does that work? Not sure if I'm going to sign up for this, but what do you do? Gather up a team, build your app in 48 hours, voting, judging period when it is announced. What do you actually win? It doesn't tell you what you win. Who's sponsoring it? Google, Wrangle.io, and Widmo. Okay, interesting. Well, I'm not going to sign up for that today, but you see they got it there. So what do they say about AngularJS? Fast. Angular computes updates based on changes to data, not DOM. For fast updates that scale to the largest data sets with minimal memory overhead. Mobile. With Angular Universal for server-side rendering and web workers for smooth scrolling and transitions, Angular2 solves the core challenges in mobile web performance. Sounds good to hear. Flexible. Supports several languages including plain JavaScript, TypeScript and Dart. Also supports both object-style data structure with POJO, data binding, and functional reactive style and unidirectional data flow and support for observables and immutable data structure. So what is POJO? Sorry, I don't know if anyone else has heard of it. I don't know what POJO is. This is where I go about learning. I go and plain old Java object. Right, okay. See, I'm from a .NET background, so to me, I'm used to hearing the term POCO, which is plain old CLR objects, which is essentially the same thing. It's just a class. So okay, so POJO is the same as POCOs, right? Gotcha. So POCO data binding and functional reactive. Cool. Basics. So what we got here. In Angular, you display data by defining components. Data in your component class is automatically available to display in your templates or control how they render as the example below. While this example uses TypeScript, Angular works equally well with ES5, ES6 and data as well. So I haven't really been up to scratch with what ECMAScript 6 has got, or even ECMAScript 5. I know that they added a lot of, you can enumerate through things, and there's a lot more properties and methods that have been added to certain objects, or to the actual prototype of the object class, I believe, or the object, the main object that's in JavaScript. I believe they've added stuff to that. Maybe they've added stuff to the number object as well, but my understanding, I don't have a huge amount of understanding for ECMAScript 5 or 6, so moving on. So what we got here, we got hello world, HTML, got a label, got input, type is text, and then ng model. Okay, so in Angular, 1.3 used to go ng model and you would specify the name of the attribute you were planning to modify, but they've got it in square braces and in circular, so they put parentheses around it twice. So what we used to write is just ng model equals your name, but now they've put parentheses around it. I'm not sure why they've done that. Okay, conditionally display your name. So they're doing it a lot. They're putting a lot of square parentheses around things. That must be just how they're handling directives now. They're doing it with square brackets. Okay, equals your name. So so in 1.3 they used to just have ng show or ng hide, and so everything was prefixed with a ng dash. Not sure why they've gone with a square bracket option. I'll have to keep reading, I guess, but it is a little different to what I'm used to, but that's okay. So hidden is not your name, so I'm assuming under these circumstances, if your name is empty and doesn't actually have anything in the text box, it's not going to show it. That's assuming what that says there. And then it says hello, and this is the same. Your name is always had two parentheses around it, so that hasn't changed. So what's in the... So it hasn't shown us here how to... Oh, hang on, this is a template file, is it? App, hello world score HTML. And this must be the main index HTML file. Oh yeah, okay. So what have we got? I like to look at the HTML files first to see how they configure things up. So we've got ourselves meta tag. Alright, that's just setting up the mobile zooming. We got a style sheet. Oh god, a bunch of polyfills. To be honest with you guys, I'm really not a fan of polyfills. I know, and all those kinds of things, and shims and all that kind of stuff, because I know they're addressing issues or in things that aren't supported in browsers, but it makes your code a lot more clunky at times, because you got to put in all these shims in order for this to work, and then you put that. So it's like a bit of a maintenance annoyance. And then when somebody comes along and goes, "What's system-polyfills used for?" and you've got to remember it's for one particular thing that you want to do, and it's like you have to remember it, and if there's a break you may have to update it, but then after a while you forget to update it, and it's just, I always like to stick to as minimal dependencies as possible in a project. But if this is what AngularJS has chosen to do, I guess you just have to go with it. But it does say it's IE required polyfills. My argument in a lot of situations is if IE doesn't support it, provide an alternate view for it. Like, so, in your web server code, if the user agent that comes in is IE 9 and that's not supported by any of these, like, that's the browser version below that doesn't support these shims or these polyfills, then just give them a different view. That's just how I see it. I know it kind of doubles up the work a little bit, but it keeps your code cleaner. But anyway, that's just my argument on it. I know other people will probably go, "Oh, no, this way's fine," blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that. Now, what else have we got? So we've got ECMAScript shim, which I'm assuming just adds in support for ECMAScript 6 properties that may not be the case across all browsers. But we'll have a look at it. ES6 shim. I'm assuming that's what it's called, so take a look. I may have already looked at this before. Yep, you can see it. Paul Miller, also it. Script 6 compatibility. Provides compatibility shims so that legacy JavaScript engines behave as closely as possible to ECMAScript 6. However, if you look down here, you've got Firefox 45, which is I believe is one of the latest versions, it doesn't support it, and IE 10 and 9 don't support it either. And in fact, there seems to be several issues. I don't know if that's the number of issues. No, it's not. I don't know if that number is next to it, but for Windows 8, IE 10 for Windows 8 and IE 9 for Windows 7. I think that's what it means. But what does it do? Does it include ES shim before your scripts? Includes ES5 shim. Alternate methods. In both browser and Node, you may also want to include non-line sections for details. So what does it give us? It gives us a map method. It gives us a set method. So, and that requires ECMAScript file property descriptor support. Okay. Gives us the concept of a promise. It's extended string a little bit and giving us two extra properties. Is it? String is also available. And then it's added to the prototype a little bit. It's added a few methods. Code point at, ends with, includes. Ends with is a good one because I don't know how many times I've written JavaScript in the past and I just want to see if something ends with something, and you have to end up going if the length of the string, minus this many, and you basically try and find what the end of the string is, and then you've got to compare it with whatever you want to. It's so annoying. If you've ever done it and you haven't used the library to do it before, you just try and write straight out JavaScript. Such a pain. Totally unnecessary. You end up writing your own function or something like that to do it. It's like, yeah, not fun. But it's good to see that as part of this solution, they've included an ends with and starts with. Repeat. I don't know what repeat would do. It includes. Do these actually specify what they are? Oh yeah, repeat polyfill. So what does it do? The robust optimizing script file. So ES3. Sorry guys, I know I jump around a lot. ECMAScript 3 repeat. I'm just curious to know what these things are. New string features in ECMAScript 6. String.repeat. JavaScript MDN. So it says here, the repeat method constructs and returns a new string which contains a specified number of copies of the string on which it was called. So what's an example? Oh, I see. So the original string is ABC. If you repeat it twice, you're showing it twice. If you repeat it 3 times or 3.5 times, you do it 3 times. Okay. So it doesn't take into consideration decimals, and then obviously it handles situations like divide by 0. Okay. You see. Anyway, back to where I was. Close that one. Starts with. Okay. Real stuff for regular expressions, search, split. The split on a regular expression is quite handy. Searching through, that's okay. Replace a good one as well. Match. So these are all things you usually have. Like I know in .NET you have the regex class that does all this. So it's good to see that they've got this here as part of this shim, adding these extra methods. I just wish that JavaScript would get much more stronger with their methods. Like all this stuff, I mean, we've been using this in server technology for years and years and years, and I know ECMAScript 5 now has it, but browsers just need to pick up their game and support all of these by default. But in saying that, I don't know what the support is for ECMAScript 5 in modern browsers. Maybe it's fully supported and they're just trying to cater for i8 and i6 and depends on what they're trying to do. But yeah, anyway, what else we got here? Number, parse int, parse float, interesting. Maximum safe integer, I'm not sure why that is not a number. I thought we already had is not a number. Anyway, okay. Array, prototype, index of values, keys. Oh, maybe in the sense of keys, values, interest, return, an array iterator object. Don't know what that is. Go ahead, have to catch up on some of this stuff. Array iterator. It's not further down. Let's just scan through this a little bit faster. Math. Alright, so we've got some more advanced math functions. So in reflection, we can perform some reflection, can we? You know, define a property, delete a property. We can remove stuff from objects. I'm not sure why you would do that, but anyway. What do we got next? String prototype anchor, big, link, bold, fix, font color. These methods are part of AXB, which means that although you shouldn't use them. Okay, so disregard all that. Some classing. The map, set, and promise implementations are subclassable. You should use the following pattern to create a subclass. So the function myPromise encloses a promise. Object set prototype of promise to myPromise.prototype. Okay, so we go to the standard promise. We're changing the prototype to be that of the new prototype, which is this myPromise, which is this function. So I'll have everything promise has, but also include any prototype methods that are a part of this particular function, which down here, so set prototype of, why are we doing this twice? Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so we're seeing the prototype, so we're adding all the prototype methods of promise, which is the built-in one, to the new myPromise object, which is this one. So you've got all the promise functions, plus you've then now got this object create. Right, okay. But that's just general JavaScript. Like, I don't know how many people know about writing, classes and how it's done in JavaScript, but this is kind of how you do it. So there are a number of different ways to do it, but this one is so that you can share methods and not every single instance of an object contains a function. This is one function that exists in the entire scope of the browser session, and it be shared across multiple instances of this function. So yeah, I don't want to go too far into why that is. I mean, this is not a session about me teaching you guys. It's just me understanding exactly what's going on here. So, string prototype normalize. Normalize will increase the size of the library by a factor of 4 and 4. So instead, we recommend use the values. Okay, getting started. Weak map shim. This is not possible to implement in pure JavaScript. Okay. I'm just going to skip all that and not worry about it. But, so basically what this library is giving us is full, up-to-date ECMAScript 6 compatibility support. Yes, I know that says it just here, but I just wanted to see what it actually, like in the description down here, what it actually means in terms of what do we get. So let's close that. So what else we got here? So that was for IE, and now we've also got this one, System.js. System polyfills.js. So what's System.js? Actually, it looks like it's down here too. System.js. Let's have a look what System.js is. The Angular are really trying to keep up with ECMAScript in their latest development. I don't think, like, if they did support that, maybe they supported it inside of the library itself. It looks like they've kept it outside of the library this time, and they're just importing it as a dependency. System.js, here we go, System.js, up and look like I've been here before it as well. So what do we got here? System.js, upgrading, Universal Dynamic Module Loader loads ECMAScript 6 modules, AMD, CommonJS, and global scripts into the browser, and Node.js works with both Tracia and Babel. Don't know what they are. Loads any module format with exact circular reference and binding support. Loads ECMAScript modules compiled into the system.register bundle for production, maintaining circular reference support. Supports required JS style, map, path, bundles, and global shims. I have used required JS before, so I do know what map, paths, and shims are in regards to required JS. But I'm not sure what all these other ones like system.register bundle is. So, but at the moment, I'm just kind of scanning over this. I'm not trying to learn this whole different JavaScript library because, in all honesty, you might end up only using a couple of lines of code in it, and it's just, yeah, it's not something I want to waste too much time on. So I'm just scanning over it though, because I'm sure I'm going to see some of this code inside of the AngularJS library. So just good to know what's here. ECMAScript 6 modules overview. So if I click on this, what does that take me? Modules and loaders, which can be imported by other modules. CommonJS and AMD JavaScript loaders are modules. A module loader provides the ability to dynamically load modules and keep track of it. Yeah, I already know that. Module naming. Normalization rules allows modules to be converted to URLs. This allows modules just like import star from jQuery to be equivalent to import star from. Okay, yep. Export dot function. Some method equals function. So this is the CommonJS version, was it? Exports dot some method equals function. Exports dot another equals that. ECMAScript 6, the same code would be written. Export function some method. Export bar another. Notice that the name of the function, class, or variable gets used as the export name. Import some method, another as new name. So some method, another as new name from, must be what the name of the file was that they're exporting it from. New name is equal to an object. It's just confirming if that's an object or not, which it is. Result import and export. Sometimes one doesn't want to write an import name at all. For this, we would use a default export. Don't get it. I don't get this. Export default. Why is it calling custom? Oh, import custom name. Sorry. No, so import into custom name was in the default, or what's the default? In this case, it's just this function. So when you call it, returns foo in the log. Yeah. So what do I do here? Basic use browser. Set out base URL reference part. So, from my understanding, this system, JS, is literally about loading in dependencies, very similar to the old school common JS or require JS. And it looks like there's maybe a few more other bits and pieces added to it. It's like a system library that AngularJS has chosen to use. What else we got here? To load ECMAScript, locate the transpiler. Locate a transpiler. Tracer, browser.js from Babel, or TypeScript.js from TypeScript. Now, I think I remember seeing the TypeScript.js in the solution. Oh yeah, there it is. TypeScript.js. Alright, okay. In the base URL. So we've got system config, transpiler, Babel, whatever browser.js does essentially. But you can choose TypeScript, which is the one I think I saw. Yeah, here, transpiler, TypeScript. So what's a transpiler? What's the transpiler? Is it anywhere down here? What's the transpiler? Put in the configuration, I assume. There we go, transpiler. So that's the module name of the transpiler to be used for loading ES6 modules. Represents a module name for system.import that must resolve. So either Tracer, Babel, or TypeScript. When set to Tracer, the Babel, or TypeScript, loading will be automatically configured as far as possible. Doesn't really tell me much. I think what it's trying to tell me though, without getting into too much of the Japanese that's here, I think it's saying if you want to use TypeScript for your source, you have to set it to TypeScript here, and then it looks like there's this other option, TypeScript options, which gives you configuration options for TypeScript, which I know does exist. And then packages, well, let's find out what that is. So that's also in the config API a little bit. Packages provide convenience for setting meta and map configuration that is specific to common path. In addition, packages allow for setting contextual map configuration, which only applies to the package itself. This allows for full dependency encapsulation without always needing to have all dependencies in a global loading space. Okay. So in the case of the example here, you've got a folder, it's local package, there's linked to a base URL, and that inside here has a main file. So that must be the starting point. Not sure what format CJS means. I'll have it down the bottom. Module format of the package, see module formats. God, see, this is the thing when you learn new stuff. You've got to basically jump around a lot. What do we got here? Alright, so CJS is common JS. So in my situation, I want TypeScript, wouldn't Maybe it's by ESM or AMD. Okay. It's starting to look a lot like I have to learn these libraries without just scanning through it. Or, I mean, look, what I'll do is after I scan through this, I'm actually just going through the tutorial example just to see what it does. Because I don't want to spend too much time looking at all this stuff. Yes. But it looks like here, from here we're saying app, which is app, default extension is TS. It looks like we're setting the application to use TypeScript by default as the source files. That's what it looks like to me. Then we've got a system.import app/main, which is app/main, so it's just here, and that's in TypeScript. Okay. Rightio. Okay. They're closest. What else we got on this list? I think the rest of the stuff. rx.js, polyfills. I might encounter these as I go along. I'm sure I'm going to run into what these things mean. But from my understanding from here, we're setting up configuration for this application. Say, I want to use TypeScript from my source code. I want to emit this decorated metadata, and I want to have all my source code to have a default extension of TS. So it's going to be TypeScript, and that's it for the entire app. I think that's what it's telling me. I can't guarantee that. Again, there's a lot to read through. So, and then here I'm importing main.js. And so far it doesn't look like I'm taking any action on it. I'm just making sure that I've loaded it in. And if there's an error, well, then we're binding an error to the console. I love it. And then finally on the bottom here, display the application, which they seem to have written it as elements now. So in the old version of Angular, they didn't recommend it to do this way, because it wasn't supported on all browsers, especially IE8 and below. IE8 didn't acknowledge new elements. Like if you tried to create a new element that wasn't part of the HTML5 standard, or even XHTML standard or whatever you were using, it wouldn't recognize the element. So I think maybe with all these shims that have been put up in this script file to support IE stuff, they've now said, hey, we'll just create elements that look like that. That's what it looks like. So that's the source, and then what do these things do? So it's loading in main, so let's have a look at main.ts. And there's import Bootstrap from Angular platform browser. Angular2 platform browser. Okay. It looks like the bootstrapper method that they used to have in Angular, where you had to bootstrap the whole system. Looks like that's what this is here. And import hello world from dash hello world. Okay, so this is saying import what seems to be in this file, because it's in the same directory, to this hello world variable, and then we're just bootstrapping that hello world variable. So what does hello underscore world have? Component, import a component. Angular2/core. In this component, we're saying declare the tag name, so that's the hello-world. So that's coming from here. Okay. And the template URL I want you to use for it is the app/hello_world.html. So it's this one, which we've already looked at, where it has the ng model, and it's just showing how. So it's literally, it should show this file would show an input, and when you type in the input, it should say hello name, and I don't think it will display anything else. No. It'll display loading if it hasn't loaded yet, but it looks like that's all it's going to do. And what's this thing down here? Oh, this must be the... So this is the class that's being used to hold the your name value. But how is that constituted? It's not really there. Maybe when you click Bootstrap, you're saying this is the model. Yeah, I don't want to keep guessing. I'm going to follow the basics. I'm going to try this in Plunker very quickly though, just have a look. Doesn't hurt. Okay, yeah. So I already looked at the code, so if I put in Daryl, yep, okay. As expected, that should have worked. Here's the idea of components. Groups of coordinated components divide the responsibilities of our application. The to-do list app has separate component from the form, the list, and the core app logic, where the previous example component referenced templates in separate files. This one shows up using inline templates. Defining types as we do here in todo.ts communicates our intention to other developers, help us find bugs in our code, and let IDEs do some more work for us in refactoring code, code navigation, and code completion. Okay. Rightio, so again, let's have a look at index.html. Got the same information as before, same scripting. Yep, that's all the same. That's the same. Okay, so the only difference is that we now have called the element to-do app with a class or container. So are we including class or container? Maybe it's just part of CSS, doesn't matter. Style display block. So I'll show you the same loading. Okay. So going to main. Right, we're saying just load the todo.ts. We'll bootstrap that in. Okay, so we've got one interface here. This to do option. To do. Oh, okay, hang on. I've opened the wrong one. To do app. This one. And that's imported these other three files as separate files. Right. So first it's implemented to do, which is an interface. So this is the interface we want to implement. Where does it actually implement the to do interface? Ah, here. So this to do app has a bunch of to dos in it. Oh yeah. To do list. That's a component. Okay. And to do form. It's also a component. So it's loading those three files in. Got that. We know we saw it in the index.html todo.app. And then it's got an inbuilt template. So we've got H2 says to do. Then span remaining of to do's.length. Alright, so that must be pointing to this function here. Don't know where remaining comes from. Oh, remaining is a generated get property. Okay. Where done is not true. Okay. Yep, makes sense. That's just a property. Yep. Click archive. And what's in a function? Yep. Equals this dot to do is this dot to do is equal to. So this is doing a function. That's fine. To-do list. To-dos. To-dos. Oh, so they've got inbuilt elements inside of here too. So that's how they reference it. So now this particular template will understand what a to-do dash list is because it's come from the app/to-do list.ts file. Yep, got that. The same as the to-do form. There we go. Now there's a new task variable, a little bit, on the to-do list form, which is linked to an add task function. So it looks like it's doing a binding, like a directive binding. So in the old version of AngularJS, they used to have a concept of directives, and you used to be able to say, for this directive, I want the controller to handle this function. It's hard to explain. So you used to have this concept of controller. Controller would manage the view and the directives at times. But you also had a directive class which would spit out events, and you could actually wire into those events through your controller. So essentially that's what this is trying to do. Is it's saying, for this component, I want the add task of the to-do form event, the add task event of the to-do dash form, to link to. Oh, sorry, no. Sorry, let me say that again. The to-do form probably has a new task event. So let's go and check that. Yeah, that looks like that's what this is trying to do. So it's got a new task event. So on that, I want you to reference that task as the add task of this particular component, which is the to-do app down here, which is this function. We're adding in a new to-do, and we're pushing that in. Right, okay. And that comes through the event information, which it's a $event, but I'm assuming $event means it's a to-do object. Potentially. And then what else we got here? We got some styles on the template, on the component. And then we've got, looks like we have to reference the directives that we're referring to in this particular component. So for these two, we've got the two directives, to-do list and to-do form. Must be like importing, I would say it's like importing other components into a component. Anyway, I'm sure this is all covered in tutorials, but sometimes I like to work it out for myself and then see if I'm right. Export class to do app, yeah, that's all fine. So what I'm thinking is that this to-do list TS file is going to have a to-dos property, which is a collection of, or an array of a to-do object, which is in the to-do.ts file. So this to-do underscore list should have a reference to to-do.ts, I would think. Yeah, and there it is. Yeah, thought it might. And there's the component definition. So styles. So it looks like it's printed out as a unordered list. Alright, so we've still got an ng4. So I think it was called ng repeat in the old one. They've gone with ng4 now, okay. And they've also got an asterisk. So that's all new to me. Again, they've gone with the whole ng model within parentheses, which is a bit weird to me, but that's okay. Let's say point this checkbox to do.done, and the other one to span class equals done.todo.done. Alright, so that's just a bit of CSS work there, and then to-do.text. So that's just showing that the text, or what the text is of the thing. And that's an input, so you have to, you have to receive an input of to-dos in order to create a to-do list. So I'm assuming this means whenever I create a to-do list of this type, I have to have a property that says to-dos. Is that what this had? Yeah, there it is right there. Anyway, okay, so I get that, and for to-do form, we know that there's a new task. Now these are in round parentheses, so maybe that means it's an event. Anyway, I'll find out soon anyway. I just want to have a play and see if I can work this out. So new task, so if I now go to to-do form, I'll select the to-do form, which is right, yep. Form ng submit, so they still have an ng submit. Add to do. So I'm thinking maybe events are wrapped in parentheses like this, and I'm not sure why there's double here. To do form, new task equals new event emitted to do, and then on the button click there must be a. Oh no, yeah, sorry, it's on the form submit. To do calls this if this.task. So I'm assuming that happens because something's been filled in. Otherwise this.task is empty. Oh, that's the name. It's the name of the property, that's why. So it's this.task. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna leave it there for this video. And the next video, I'm actually gonna go through the get started and actually start writing some of this. It's just sometimes I like to just have a read through just to see what there is, and then once I've done that, I usually get started on what their tutorial based ones are and work my way up from there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully you find this interesting. If not, well, sorry. I'm sorry I wasted a bit of your time, but yeah, I thought it was quite interesting to read through this, to learn how it kind of relates to each other. It's very different to AngularJS 1.3, which is more in-house and not so much dependencies and having to learn all these other bits and pieces. But this whole concept of a component, it's the same. It looks to be the same as a directive. It's just that they've renamed it and they've kept things closer together. So this is like the controller for the directive and that kind of thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.